Alrighty, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Online Open Day. We are in our higher education online info session. We have people joining us from all around the world, Norway, Germany. We have people from Melbourne, Tasmania, also here in Sydney, Australia. So great for everybody to join us. If you're here, you probably have questions about our higher education, which is our undergraduate and postgraduate degree programs, but online. And so today we actually have the vice principal of our online campus, Jared Naidu, joining us today, and he's going to be walking us through the course, the programs, what is available, what is the online experience like, and answering any questions. So if you do have any questions, whether you're watching here right now or you're watching on YouTube later, go ahead and type them in the chat or on the comments, and we'll answer them as best as we can. But Jared, over to you. Take it away. I'm sorry, I have to ask to unmute you. There you go.
Excellent. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Hey, everyone's so great to meet you, and so great to get in contact. Can you guys hear me clearly? Everything working well? Excellent. Excellent. So good. Okay, right. So Ruth, I actually remember you. You're in one of our classes. So great to see you joining us for some support. Great to have you with us. Look, my name is Jared, like John said, and I look after the online campus, the higher education program, our undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. So I'll just 2 minutes as to like who I am and why I love higher education online. When I first came onto higher education online, we had approximately 10 students. I was brought on to basically grow the campus and develop the program, and it was an incredible learning experience. I can tell you that much for sure. But what it's shown me is probably developed my great love for seeing online education and learning develop, and for us as Hillsong College, develop and innovate in that space. So I'm particularly passionate about innovating the online learning space, and I'm sure you've heard of other universities, other institutions that offer online programs. What we'd like to do here at college, at Hillsong College, is try and bring together the discipleship message that we offer as a church and as a community, as a college, but also the higher education element in the online space, which is new. It's not new in the sense that it hasn't been done before, but new in that we're trying to do something different, which is a disciple in the online community, as well as build educated thinkers and critical thinkers as well. So as you would recognize with this session, I used keywords like critical thinking. Now, like most degrees, critical thinking is actually a must and necessity when you do a degree program. But you don't have to necessarily have it from the get-go. We help you get there. The whole point of the degrees is to help you engage with the Bible and theology in a way that will allow you to critically reflect on Scripture and what that means for you and for your and more importantly, I'd say, for your community today. Theology isn't necessarily about oneself. It does help personal reflection for sure. But more importantly, it helps you become the person you believe that God's called you to be, and the blessing to a community. That's what education is about. If knowledge is power, then you're given knowledge to serve the community that you belong to, and that's the goal. We want to help you and disciple you as critical thinkers to be part of a functioning and healthy community, and to grow your community. So that's what kind of inspired me to get involved with higher education online. In many ways, I did stumble on it at times. Otherwise, I'd like to think that God's sovereignty definitely had a role to play in the destiny of what I believe college can achieve through the online program. So that's a little bit about me. I came here as a student, by the way. I came here as a student, did the 3 years of Hillsong College vocational program, did my bachelor's of theology, and then went on to do my master's. And it's been a great learning experience. I've just completed my master's and I am done studying for a while. So I'm sure that feeling will be a shared sentiment once we get through your degrees. So yes. So glad to have you. And let's start with John, our online campus and just general information about what the
Yeah,
online campus is. Yeah. Um,
100%.
just interrupt me whenever I feel like I'm talking too much. I do get bored hearing my own voice, which is probably why you won't hear me lecturing a lot. So let's start with our student resources, right? So you as an online student, what do you have access to when you join us? Well, at Hilton College, we've got our main platform for you guys to engage with us as staff and as tutors is you engage with us through your student portal. That will be your primary mode of access. Everything is hosted on your student portal. You have access to your to lectures, to resources and readings, excerpts and extracts, a forum function that allows you to communicate with each other and your tutor, as well as uh, educational resources called like your online libraries. So how do you get material to research? So you'll find access to 2 online journals and 1 online library that's hosted by us at Hilton College. Now, those 3 like have a plethora of information, resources on there. However, we also like to pride ourselves as academics, I guess, if you want to call us that, as researchers, on study hacks. So we love giving study hacks. It'll make your life easier, and our job is to make your lives easier in the sense that, yes, require hard work, but we'll give you everything you need to achieve your degree. Here's the underlying factor. We want you to achieve your degree with efficiency and by us helping you put in place the discipline so you can achieve. The goal, yes, is discipleship, but the goal is to also get you through to completing from day one, whether you start on a part-time basis or on a full-time basis. Most students start full-time, but the point is to get you to finishing your 24 subjects. Which brings me to the next point. What degrees do we offer? Well, we've got the Bachelor of Theology, which consists of 24 subjects, and we've got the Master of Arts, which consists of 12 subjects. The Bachelor of Theology generally has a major called Christian Studies. So when you graduate, you'll graduate with a Bachelor of Theology, and Christian Studies will largely be your major. 24 subjects, you've got core subjects, and you've got electives. But those kind of details we can chat through later. You've also got the Master of Arts. Now, for anyone who has already has a bachelor's degree in any discipline, the Master of Arts is an integrated introductory master's. What that means is it uses your previous study, your bachelor's, and it gives you direct entry into a postgraduate program, which is the Master of Arts, but it still treats you like you haven't received theological education at an introductory level. So it's master's level, but it's introductory theology and introduction to Bible studies and so on. So you're not really missing out on the fundamental learning that's associated with intro to theology, intro to Bible. We've actually given you a great support structure in terms of the way the courses are structured. At this point, I'll stop here to say, as part of our courses and part of what we deliver, we've actually got a backup. Our entire course, when it comes to your studies, a subject, for instance. When you take a subject, how many weeks do you have to complete your subject? Well, you've got 12 weeks. 12 weeks makes up your semester calendar. 13 weeks if you've got an exam, but 12 generally, so we'll 12 to 13 weeks. That makes up your academic calendar. Now, the caveat is that we've actually got something called a fast-tracked learning experience, which is represented by our winter and summer school periods, depending on which hemisphere you are in at the moment, where we halve that learning period and you can complete a subject in 6 weeks as opposed to 12 weeks. So yes, let me state the obvious. It is intense learning. It is intense learning, right?
Well, that's what I was going to ask, Jared, is like in the, like when it is concise like that, are there more assessments or more papers and stuff quickly? Are you know what I mean? Is the course load condensed in that, or is it the same amount of course load as you would 12 weeks?
Yeah. everything is pretty much this. It replicates the 12-week calendar. It's compressed learning. So say if you had to have like one lecture a week, here you were possibly saying one lecture a day, right?
Yeah, right.
The thing about our lectures are all our lectures are pre-recorded, so they're studio recorded, and they're already loaded on your student portal for you. So you have the luxury, as it were, to double speed your lecture, or you can watch them at a normal speed, whatever it may be. But it's there as a function for you that's how we host all our lectures. Now the winter school period compresses the learning, so you've got the same amount of assignments, but you do them at a faster rate. So the way we try and manage that is we say your first 3 weeks is when you just are grinding out lectures. You want to get it done, just watching the material and me taking notes here and there. And then your last 2.5 weeks or so, last 2 weeks, you'll get your assignments done. And our goal as tutors in that space is to help you get there. Now, let me pause there for a second and introduce you to 3 of our team members who decided to who joined us today. We've got Lani Pirenboom, who give us a wave. We've got John Taylor, I saw somewhere, but I think he might have just stepped out a bit. He might have a class, but he was here. Remember John, very smiley person. He joined earlier. And Sarah Young, give us a wave. These are your dedicated online tutors. So we have a dedicated online tutor team that will be there for your support and to help you achieve your goals. So at that point, you've also got others. We've got Dorothy Mendez, we've got Samir, and we've got Dr. Renee Dang, different a group of dedicated people who will love online learning and love meeting you and helping you. The best report I get from our team is that the thing that inspires them the most is meeting you guys and seeing you achieve the goals that you set in front of you. I think that's a consistent message from our team. But so you've got a dedicated online tutor team, and they'll help you through winter school and through regular 12-week semester. Our winter school period starts in June, actually, so pretty soon. And from that point on, it's pretty ready, set, go. And we've got Introduction to the Old Testament or Israel Scriptures as an introductory Bible subject. And we've got apologetics at a theology levels. And often we find that most of you guys particularly go into the Introduction to Bible. There's a great assignment. It's pretty creative. Sarah's been marking them at the moment. It's you'd enjoy that. It's not a really intense essay-based subject. They've got 2 exams and a creative assignment, as it were. So it's a great ease into the semester if you want to start with winter.
Now, Jared, I actually do have a couple of questions. Either they're a mix of people actually submitting questions and just questions that I hear just being here at college. With taking online, like let's say that I'm somebody that I've done a little bit of study here and there, and I want to complete my degree. Is there a way for somebody to, having done any previous study, come in and transfer credits into either the bachelor program or any of the postgraduate degrees?
Yeah, great. Common question. We've got students who transfer from other institutions, and it would have to be assessed on a case-by-case basis. But what we do have is a recognition of prior learning program. So there is a process to that. If you've studied before, you've done a couple of units or subjects at an accredited institution, then it becomes easier for us to mitigate the units that you would have studied before into our college. But that's on a case-by-case basis. But it's definitely a common question and one that people have done before, so it is a common occurrence. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then another question, when you are, this is actually a question from Dom, what does discipleship look like in the online learning space? I guess the international community as well. And also, where do you see that going in the future?
Wow, a future-oriented question. Okay, great.
That's it. What do you see, Jared?
What do I see? Yes. Look, we've tried we've run the online program for a good 4 semesters now, and we've tried various ways to manage discipleship in the online community. What I do enjoy is that we're willing to navigate and change as we see fit, because the online space is dynamic. But what we've tried this semester is something called regional cohorts, which is say Lani or Sarah or John or Samir or any of our team look after let's say the pastoral and discipleship elements of communities according to your time zone and region, right? So Sarah, for instance, is looking after our United States and North America context, right? Lani, if I remember correctly, is looking after the Australasian context. So a lot of Aussies, Tasmania as well, those that are around Tassie, and a lot of our Asian community as well, you know. So we do find ways as a way to manage what discipleship looks like through just building a strong relationship. As all things with Hillsong College, like you might have heard with Lee earlier on, we definitely pride ourselves on developing healthy relationships, and we want to be able to develop that with you guys, and discipleship comes through relationship. So we try and do that not just through using, let's say, Lani or Sarah as a tutor point or a pastoral cohort point, but peer discipleship that works in the online community as well, through your friends, I mean, it replicates Jesus' model in the sense that, you know, Peter and his odd crew often got into arguments and and learned to live with each other, you know, and live with the various opinions and relationships and so on. And that's discipleship in many ways. And Lani, Sarah, John will be there to help guide and cultivate healthy conversation as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Another question. What would you say are, if you were to pick, I know this might be dangerous, any 3 classes, your top 3 favorite classes, what would they be?
Oh, wow. Goodness. Look, I'm more of a theology major, but I do enjoy Bible as well. I'll explain that later at some other point. But the point is, I do like Isaiah and the prophets. So we've got a subject called Minor Prophets that Paul McGee does. So anyone who jumps into the Minor Prophets, I think you'll love that, because it's so, you know, you talk about like Amos, for instance, and you know you get straight fire from the prophets, the Minor Prophets. But you've also like Isaiah as well, because of the I'm not trying to nerd out. I honestly can't think of a better word right now, but a Christocentric reading of Isaiah. It's really like, I'm really passionate about like seeing Jesus come out in the text. And then Gospels, goodness. Theology, I'm a fan of theology and politics. That's a great subject we have, public theology and public politics.
Oh, wow.
And then social justice, which is another subject we have online as well. So yeah, I think I give you 4, but we'll go with that.
Nice. I don't think I actually mentioned this before. I actually did the undergraduate program, graduated with my Bachelor of Theology. And I did do a bit of it online, thanks COVID. But did do a bit of it online, and the community was there, and specifically the classes. Social justice was one of my favorite classes. Theology and film was also one of my favorite classes. And speaking of theology, you kind of mentioned it earlier, and I feel like it could be clarified. So it sounds like the classes are kind of split between, correct me if I'm wrong, biblical classes and theology classes. What is the difference, and why is the difference in degree?
There's it's a both and question, because they share elements of Bible and theology, and ministry. That's right, Lani.
And ministry. Yep. Thank you, Lani.
Subjects, so they like theology. Caveat: theology is all of life, right? Every day we do theology. We live it, we breathe it. Like whenever you think or reflect on God, you're doing theology. How you know you're not doing Bible studies is you're not reading ancient literature. That's one easy way to distinguish that. When you do a Bible subject, you are engaging, you're asking questions about the ancient context. Like, what did it mean in the 1st century? So you do a subject like Corinthians or Romans and Galatians, or you do like Luke, Acts. You know, you remember that the Bible is written and the accounts are taken about centuries ago. So it's an old ancient text, And it comes with any text comes context. And so you've got to ask questions of what it means to them first. Theology is asking, what does it mean for us today? That's a great way to kind of delineate it, but recognize that they do share similar traits. Yeah. And the ministry subjects are straight preparing you for just pastoral ministry, developing a spirituality, all that kind of. It's brilliant.
Easy. Another question that we have from Caitlin, who is joining us on her iPad, hence the name Caitlin's iPad. She said, would this degree only be able to be used in a ministry setting?
No, actually, no. I've had friends who completed the BTH and gone on to do counseling degrees, counseling postgraduates. Again, it is a specific bachelor's, so you are getting a bachelor's in theology. So I'd like to put that up front as well. You are getting a bachelor's of theology, and it is a specific degree. However, depending on the university that you apply to in another tertiary institution, they can accept going into a postgraduate program. They can accept an undergraduate bachelor's, which the same way we accept a Master of Arts student who has different bachelor's in a different discipline. Other institutions operate the same way as well. It just depends on which one you apply to. So I would say do some research just about other institutions that work with taking a BTH or a different discipline.
Yeah, and even just just throwing in a little bit of my story in there as well. And maybe just a bit of advice for somebody who's looking down the line, like what could this mean for me in a career standpoint? Research the types of careers that you want to get into and find the academic pathway that could get you there. It could very well be that this particular degree pathway might not be for you for that career that you want. But if you look into that degree or into that career and the qualifications that could put you into that space, it could very well be that they want you to have a 4-year degree or a 3-year degree and experience, or you know what I mean? And so there are some, in some ways, they're just looking to see that you have studied. So I would actually ask, why not study something that you are passionate about, something that, you know what I mean? If you're not super passionate about, IT or anything like that, and you want, like, there wouldn't be necessarily a cause to study for 4 years in that. But if there is a degree that you are passionate about, something that you are passionate about studying, and you could line up with experience to get the career that you are looking for, then this could be the place for you. Somebody asked me a question, is there a previous academic calendar for bachelor program, just so people can kind of have a heads up of when they could join, what the week-to-week study kind of looks like?
So we are currently our second or third draft of a calendar for this coming semester. So we'll be releasing that soon. I'm not sure whether we put that on the website at all, but it might be more based on inquiry. So we can release, if you send an email to the inquiry, then, or maybe future students, depending on whatever John directs you to, we can release a draft timetable or an academic calendar. In terms of a timetable, because the second part of your question is, like, we actually don't follow a schedule. We put a rough one in place where you guys can keep up with weekly lectures, but it's ultimately your initiative. You watch the lectures at your own pace. What we do have is tutors allocated weekly to each subject, and we try and schedule them at times that try and meet the time zone differences. So that's a definitely work in progress project we're doing at the moment. But all our tutors have been readily available to meet a time specific slot weekly to meet with the class. So you Zoom in, have an hour session with your tutor, chat about the work, your assignments. It's scheduled as part of your calendar, as it were. They're not compulsory, but they're there for support, and that's the biggest thing. We recognize that as an online student, you start with passion. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 tends to dwindle a bit. We're here to keep you accountable to it, to say, hey, are you watching your lectures? Are you keeping up with your work so that you can finish? That's kind of what a calendar looks like in a sense.
So pretty much they give you a start date, key dates throughout the semester of when assessments or when papers are due,
Right.
and then the end date of which you should finish the classes. So
Yeah.
we recognize it is 2021. Everybody's doing things flexible now.
Yes.
And so really the pace at which you go about your course, the days and times and everything, that's up to you. If you have a full-time job and you are
Yeah.
squeezing in some study at the end of your shift, if you are, you know, listening to lectures on the way to work and on the way from work and during your lunch breaks, or while you're taking care of your siblings, or watching any of your grandparents or anything like that, you could really, yeah, there's so many different scenarios that you could paint. But ultimately the course is, we are here for you in order to help you reach those educational goals. But that's about us for time.
Wow.
30 minutes goes by so fast. But one thing that you can do, if you did want to express your interest, which simply means that you want to specifically get more information about a particular course, I put in the chat and I'll put in the comments on YouTube where you can express that interest, and you can select the courses that you are interested in and want to get more information about. I definitely recommend going through the website, figuring out what courses would be best for you. And like I said earlier, even doing that research in terms of what you see your future in terms of career and everything is, and what pathway you want to do in order to get there. But thank you so much for joining us for the higher education online info session. We have sessions going on throughout the entire day, so make sure you go back to the event landing page, figure out what session is up next and which one you want to be in, and we will see you there. So thanks for joining, guys.